Hello everyone and welcome to my Emmerdale Story channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. In a world that often romanticizes love stories, few could have predicted the devastating turn that Lisa and Becky's once beautiful bond would take. What began as an inspiring friendship, one that survived heartbreak, ambition, and the pressures of life, ended in an unimaginable tragedy that left those who knew them utterly broken. Their story wasn't just about love or loss. It was about how fragile even the strongest connections can be when pain runs deeper than anyone realizes. Lisa and Becky met nearly 10 years ago at a charity event in Leeds, both volunteering for causes close to their hearts. Lisa was the vibrant one, a woman with an infectious laugh, always the first to step forward when someone needed help. Becky, on the other hand, was quieter, more reserved, with a calm energy that perfectly balanced Lisa's spark. Together, they were unstoppable. Two souls whose connection felt written in the stars. Friends joked that they were sisters by fate, and for years, that's exactly how they lived. As time passed, their friendship evolved into something more profound. It wasn't always easy. Becky struggled with bouts of anxiety and self-doubt, while Lisa's career in media demanded more of her time and energy. Yet, despite the distance and personal struggles, they always found their way back to each other. Social media posts of their weekend trips, handwritten notes, and inside jokes painted the picture of an unbreakable bond. But behind those smiles, cracks were beginning to show. Friends began to notice subtle changes. Lisa, usually full of light, seemed distant. Becky stopped attending gatherings, choosing isolation over company. Rumors swirled, perhaps jealousy, perhaps miscommunication, but no one could have guessed how deeply those emotional wounds had cut. What no one knew was that the friendship had become a lifeline for Becky during her darkest times. When Lisa began drifting away, Becky's world started to collapse. The breaking point came after a heated argument one late autumn evening. Lisa, overwhelmed by her own life's pressures, told Becky that she needed space, that things had become too heavy. It was meant as a temporary pause, a way for both of them to breathe. But to Becky, it felt like complete abandonment. For someone who had built her emotional world around that connection, it was as if the ground beneath her had given way. Days turned into weeks without contact. Messages went unanswered. Then, one cold November morning, the news spread like wildfire. Becky had been found in her small flat, unresponsive. The details remain unclear, but authorities confirmed it was a tragic accident. Lisa was inconsolable. Those who saw her in the days that followed said she was a shell of herself, carrying unbearable guilt and confusion. The breakup that had seemed like a small rift now felt like an irreversible wound. In the weeks after Becky's passing, Lisa withdrew completely from the public eye. Friends described her as tormented, unable to forgive herself for what had happened. She visited Becky's favorite park daily, leaving flowers at the bench where they used to sit for hours talking about their dreams. But grief has a way of consuming even the strongest hearts. Just 2 months later, another tragedy struck. Lisa herself was found lifeless in her home. Her death was ruled as an accident, but those who knew her best believed it was something much deeper. Heartbreak that had turned unbearable. The news of both women's deaths sent shockwaves through their community. Tributes poured in online, thousands of strangers touched by their story. They loved each other fiercely, one friend wrote. Even when they fell apart, their hearts never stopped beating for one another. Another said, it wasn't just a friendship, it was a soul connection that the world didn't understand. Today, Lisa and Becky's story serves as a haunting reminder of how intertwined love and pain can be, and how silence can sometimes become deadly. Behind the perfect pictures, the laughter, and the shared memories, two women were struggling to navigate the storm within their hearts. Their tragedy speaks to the importance of reaching out, of staying connected, even when it feels uncomfortable or difficult. At the spot where they first met, a memorial now stands, two intertwined hearts engraved with their names. Visitors often leave letters, flowers, or small candles. Some say that when the wind passes through the nearby trees, it sounds almost like laughter, a faint echo of the bond that once brought light to so many. Lisa and Becky's story is one of love, loss, and the silent battles that too many face alone. It reminds us that even the strongest relationships can break under the weight of unspoken pain, and that sometimes, the greatest tragedies aren't those we see coming, but the ones we never thought possible.